Hello, welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the top 15 Ultra League Pokemon that you need to build for Season 20. Those Pokemon here are going to be Pokemon that were not previously good in the Open Ultra League, or at least like not as common, and are now top meta for this meta here. And so basically every Pokemon in this video today has basically climbed over 50 rankings minimum. So if you don't see something like a Drapion in here or Machamp, that's mainly why I kind of want to give a little bit of focus on Pokemon they were not good previously, but now are actually very overpowered. Also, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks so much for the crazy support on the last few videos. So yeah, again, thanks so much for that. Also, thanks so much to my girlfriend again for making the video, because I'm, as you can see here, or like here as well, I'm still very sick. And so we're gonna move on to the first Pokemon. Not really too surprising. Clefable is one of the biggest upgrades for this season, being at a rank 3 with the XL boost as well. You need basically XL candy for nearly every single Pokemon on today's list, so yeah, be sure to grind them. But this Pokemon got a double buff of Fairy Wind and Swift, and so you're gonna see here already, this thing is quite insane. Getting up to, rank number 3 for the Ultra League is quite ridiculous, and from 78 to 3 is also quite a big jump. Next Pokemon is most likely going to be one of the biggest jumps that you can have for this league. We're going to have Pangoro. Again, a Pokemon that is not really too surprising that's in this list. This Pokemon went from 252 all the way up to rank number 4, which is even crazier. Just because it got a new fast move, just because counter users are not really existing. While the average rating here is not even that high, it's apparently a very good still in the Open Ultra League. You have to see on how good this Pokemon is actually going to be, but you will find out on my channel anyway, because we're definitely going to try to cover this one. Anyway, we can now move on to the third Pokemon. Not really a big surprise here either. Lickilicky actually was already very solid based on the stats before for the Open Ultra League, but never really saw any play anymore. Actually, it saw some play back in the day, like really early on, I think before the XL system was a thing. This Pokemon is actually quite decent, where even Snorlax was still decent in it. But now, with the buff of, or like buff plus adding of a rollout on this Pokemon, it's going to be insane. Like, this Pokemon is going to be one of the best Pokemon to build for sure. Would really recommend you to try to build this Pokemon. And we saw already number 3, 4, and 5 are Pokemon that are completely new to the meta, which is really cool to see. Like, can't wait for the new season. It's going to be so much fun. So much fun is also going to be Shadow Dusknoir from 415 as a Shadow variant with Hex, Shadow Ball, and Dark Pulse, all the way up to number 15, climbing up 400 points here as the Shadow variant is absolutely ridiculous. Astonish buff making this Pokemon insanely good, but also Shadow Punch is going to help this Pokemon out quite a bit. Adding Shadow Punch, which also got boosted this season, onto it is going to be quite strong on it. And as you can see, you know, still might use the legacy move of Shadow Ball on it. You can still try to use a different one like Dark Pulse as well, but yeah, this thing for sure is something that you need to build for the new season. If you don't have a good Shadow, just build normal one. Like, normal one is also going to be something that is definitely worth it. Same goes for the Galarian Weezing. This Pokemon is for sure worth it, and basically everything is XL here as well. Just the Ultra League is just always kind of XL. But this Pokemon, for sure worth building. This thing is going to be so good now. Having a Brutal Swing, a little bit of a buff there on it. We're going to have the Fairy Wind, but also you have a lot of different kind of play with this Pokemon, which I like the most about this thing. You have also the potential of going for Overheat over Play Rough, which is going to make it a little bit more difficult to stay in for matchups for too long, because you can debuff yourself, but it's going to allow you to hit Pokemon like Steel types for super effective damage, which is going to be quite important for the Galarian Weezing. So for sure something, if you can build it, please build it. And luckily, the XL candy are the same as for the normal Weezing, and that is kinda good for it, because otherwise it would be a little tricky to just farm this Pokemon consistently, but definitely worth building. Also, surprisingly, very surprisingly in my opinion, up here we're going to have Gastrodon. Like, this Pokemon I did not even think has any play for the Open Ultra League, but apparently I was wrong. This goes up to rank 24, climbing basically 90 points, or like 90 ratings there in total, and it's going to be an interesting Pokemon. I'm not too sure on how strong it's actually going to be, but it's going to be a very solid mud boy for this meta, especially with a lot of poison types that are going to be a little bit better, like the Drapion for example, or even the Skuntank. Skuntank is also not in the video, even though in theory this Pokemon would get plus 50 rank upgrade, just Trailblaze basically going up. This Pokemon definitely going to have a lot of play as an anti-meta Pokemon right now. Also, an interesting one, I would put this a little bit below Dusknoir, but definitely something that you should prioritize as well is going to be Drifblim, especially as a Say-Swap or together with the Dusknoir, trying to put this as a Say-Swap, have AC Wind, plus maybe even Mystical Fire on it, and then just the Astonish damage, plus like the potential of debuffing the opponent is ridiculous, especially in the 2-shield scenario. This Pokemon is super strong in the 2 shields, allowing you to drop the opponent's attack even further, and one thing that is going to be a little bit annoying for this Pokemon actually is going to be that the switch timer is going to be now 50 seconds instead of 60, so Pokemon are not as strong anymore that have like those debuff moves, because the opponent can just swap out a little bit earlier nowadays, and that is going to be definitely impactful. But I might make a video towards like Pokemon that are going to be better and worse in this kind of type of meta on this channel as well, so feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. Moving on, we're going to have a Moltres here. Again, a Pokemon that actually got nerfed with Wing Attack, but then also got buffed with Sucker Punch, and got like the buff is crazy. Like up to rank 31 here, 77 plus there, going to be one of the best answers for those Ghost type Pokemon that definitely got a huge buff with Astonish. And so this Pokemon here, for sure, if you have it, something worth building. I'm not too sure if Payback is going to be still the better charge move though. I would go for Brave Bird if I was you. I think Brave Bird going to be a little bit better on this Pokemon. But still, Galarian Moltres is going to be one of the coolest Pokemon to build for the upcoming season, which is nice because I have one and I was trying to use it before and never really worked out, and I think now might be finally the time, so can't wait to give it a try again. Also, a Pokemon for sure with build is going to be the Miltank, and especially here because of the coverage. Of course, Rollout got buffed, but also Ice Beam coverage is great for the Open Ultra League, especially if we could take a look at the #1 spot for it, which is currently the Zygarde complete form. This Pokemon at least is going to have some nice options to beat this Pokemon if someone ever wants to bring it. But Miltank has just great coverage, great fast move now as well with Rollout getting buffed. Polystem getting nerfed is of course a little bit annoying, but still, I think this Pokemon is going to have a lot of play for the upcoming season, and again, like another XL Pokemon here. And honestly, the list of XL Pokemon is just gonna go on and on. We're going to have Runerigus here, having Shadow Claw, Sandtomb as well as Shadow Ball. Now we're going to have access to the move Brutal Swing, going to allow it to definitely be a little bit better, getting a nice charge move that is going to be cheap and actually doing damage, unlike Sandtomb. It's going to be cool. Still wish that it would get a little bit of a different coverage than Brutal Swing. Having Dark plus Ghost type coverage at the same Pokemon is a little bit awkward because they cover a lot of similar types, for example, Psychic and Ghost. So it's a little bit of an awkward one there. That would be kind of cooler if it has something like a Mud Bomb or something. I don't know if it learns it, but definitely something that would be a little bit better. Next Pokemon, honestly, I can't wait to try it out. Like Ursaring, I know people were doubting me as well in the last video for the Open Great League if you should really build a Ursaring. I might be wrong. I might totally be wrong, but I could also be totally right that this Pokemon is going to be one of the best saves up for the next season. Having Shadow Claw and Swift and Close Combat is going to be great coverage, and yes, it looks a little bit worse on paper, but if this Pokemon has some energy advantage, you're going to be able to get to those moves way faster, and also you're just always going to be able to threaten shields with Close Combat. And honestly, Ursaring is going to be one of the Pokemon there which I really look forward to, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun to play. And so yeah, definitely think that this Pokemon is going to have a lot of play for the next season. Also, again, one of the biggest buffs is going to be Golurk. I can't wait to try this Pokemon out. Honestly, look at this here. Going all the way up to rank 52 is going to be lovely. We're going to see an average rating of 500. We're going to have 12 wins to 13 wins, not really ideal, but losing 11 less matchups. And generally speaking, I think it's going to be a great Pokemon if you're going to be able to get some energy advantage onto it, if you can trap the opponent with it. The typing itself is very unique and very cool, and I just like this Pokemon a lot. I think it's going to be a fun one to play, and I like that some squishier Pokemon as well have a little bit more play, and all the bulky Pokemon kinda went away. Primeape, also a very interesting Pokemon here. Primeape is going to have access to a new fast move basically that I had before already, but this one got buffed now. It's going to be Karate Chop, and that's a fun fact if you saw already the video about the top 10 Pokemon that you should not build anymore with Annihilate. Annihilate is way further down compared to Primeape. Primeape is the way to go. Primeape gaming is coming back here. I know that some people actually really enjoyed this Pokemon before already, but Karate Chop is going to be great. But also, be careful, it's your secondary fighter choice. If you can build a Machamp instead, it is going to be the better play. But this Pokemon got the bigger upgrade compared to Machamp. Machamp, still something you should build for the Open Ultra League, don't get me wrong. But yeah, this one got a big upgrade while Machamp was already solid before. I kind of just want to highlight Pokemon that maybe some people have not built yet. Decidueye, a Pokemon a lot of people kind of skipped onto, but I also said all the time basically try to keep one because it could be very good in the future, especially with Shadow Claw. Never got Shadow Claw, but got an Astonish buff and getting up quite a lot with that as well. Changing the moveset to Spirit Shackle plus Astonish plus Frenzy Plant. I think this is going to be an insane Pokemon. I think it's going to be better than the ranking is going to say here because I already tried this Pokemon out before with the Astonish and Spirit Shackle before the Astonish buff and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So I think this thing is going to be quite insane, especially as Spirit Shackle has the option to, I think, drop the opponent's defense or something, and that is quite mad with the Astonish buff as well. So I would imagine this Pokemon is going to have a lot of play, especially for the Ultra League, but also for the Great League, which might come up in a different video as well again. And for the final one for today, we're going to have a Lokix. A Lokix having access to counter. Getting nerfed, not really ideal, but honestly, having Sucker Punch apparently makes this Pokemon way better. Also, again, one of the best anti-Ghost-type Pokemon here, which is going to be very good for the new meta as well. Also, Sucker Punch is just going to do so much damage with a stab bonus on top of it as well, and actually Lokix for the first time being really decent. And I can't wait to try it out, but this is going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I will see you then. Bye bye.